Check, check. Is my hat centered just right? Welcome back to the channel, y'all. It's a new year, and we have a new variant. I got COVID, so that's awesome. But what is the new year all about? For me, it's looking at new guitars. So to kick off the new year, we're gonna look at the Ibanez 2022 guitar line, which there it is. Pretty clean looking guitar right there. For those of you that are kind of new to my channel, I really like Ibanez. I'm really into the shred type guitar, and I love the history about them. But let's not waste any more time and start getting into this pretty sweet gear. Let's go. Now guys, as we get into this, if you could subscribe to my channel and hit the alert bell, that would really help me progress the channel. I can get more reviews out to you, more guitar history, and I'd really appreciate it. Thanks guys. Anyways, let's get into these guitars. All right guys, so right off the bat, they have this, looks like an RG, right off the bat with those Fishman Fluence pickups. Looks pretty good. Also, it's looking like they have the Low Pro Edge bridge on this, which is actually pretty sweet. Lays pretty flat, not a big lion claw on there at all, but the thing about this one is that maple neck is fire. So, but let's scroll on down. First thing's the signature models, which are pretty cool. Andy Timmons' signature model. If you don't know who Andy Timmons is, he was one of the guitarists for Danger Danger, a late 80s band, and now he's in the Andy Timmons band. Let's take a look at that. Looks pretty nice. Kind of looks like the old Ibanez kind of like RT version, the one that, the version that didn't really have like a Floyd Rose, came out in the early 90s, kind of had, it looked like an RG, but it catered to like the traditional guitar kind of crowd. So, but that looks pretty good. I like the finish, looks great. And then, of course, the Steve Vai signature model, and this is really what kind of kicked off Ibanez as a serious brand for real. In 1987, Steve Vai and Ibanez created the Gem, and then an offshoot of the Gem was actually the RG550, and then that started the RG phenomenon. So taking a look at the Steve Vai Gem, looks like there's a black and white option. The white's kind of that standard, that ivy white with the Tree of Life inlays on the fretboard. Always loved this guitar. I've just always loved RGs. RG is my favorite guitar. My favorite guitar that I play is my Ibanez Genesis, the 550 reissue. We can talk about that later. The Steve Vai Gem is actually pretty basic in all the frills and all the components and stuff like that. It's just a really beautiful looking guitar with the monkey grip and everything. But yeah, I'm glad this one keeps coming back. I'm a big fan of the kind of the standard bridge that they put in this, because I like the traditional Floyd Rose style where the locking hardware comes from the side, and he's got that huge lion claw in there, which is also pretty cool. So big fan of that one. Now to the RGs, kind of what makes Ibanez pretty famous, right? It looks like on this line they're coming out with a bunch of different RGTs, and there's an RGR in there. Now with the 2022 RGs, it looks like they have prestige options, and it also looks like they have premium options. So what's the difference between a premium and a prestige guitar? So this is where the History Channel comes in, right? Prestige guitars are going to be made in Japan, right? So if we look at our Ibanez lineup here, we see our RG5120M, and that has the Prestige label on it. And it says right there, made in Japan. And so what do you get with a Prestige? So you get basically a well-built guitar. It's made in Japan. Quality control is a little bit better, and then standard, they usually come with better components and better builds, generally, right? And then you have your premium options, which the premium options this year are awesome. Look at this neck-through design. You can see the woods that go all the way through. You flip the guitar over, and it's got, you can tell it's a real neck-through design. The pressed woods go all the way to the bottom. That's pretty good for a premium guitar. And so, so what do you get with a premium guitar? So, lesser quality build, maybe. A little bit lower quality quality control. But the big thing is that they're just made not in Japan. They're typically made in Indonesia, where Ibanez contracts a shop in Indonesia to make the guitars to their specs. So, can you get a good premium guitar? Absolutely, you can. I have a buddy who specifically buys premiums because they're just a little bit cheaper, and he's had great premiums. So you just run the risk of getting a guitar with some issues, right? I usually explain it like this. You have a well-made guitar and a guitar that has some issues, right? Those two guitars, when they go through the prestige line, that good guitar is the only one that's going to come out. Now, for a premium line, you have that good guitar and that kind of guitar with some issues. When those go through quality control, they could potentially both make it through and then get put on the selling floor, and then you run the risk of buying a guitar with some defects. Now, with the thing is with premiums are great. The quality control is just a little bit less. It's not like you're buying a GIO or a GRG, right? So, I mean, you're the consumer. You should probably try something before you buy it, right? There you go. All right, so getting back to these premium RGs, man, these finishes are awesome. The inlays in this RGT 1220PB, man, that is cool. That is really cool. And then moving on to the RGT 1221PB is awesome because this doesn't have the Floyd Rose, it's a hardtail for your hardtail guys out there. Finish is really cool. It's got that kind of that gray finish to it. Inlays are awesome, and then it's also got that neck through design, which I think is so cool. Even though I think the coolest part is the back, and I know a lot of people won't see the back, but you can see all the woods pressed together, right? And how they get the necks to look like this is they put maple and walnut and smash them together, and then finish it as one block of wood, and then they finish the neck, and that's how they get that multiple wood design. I'm sure all these woods are legally harvested, unlike Gibson back in the day. I did a whole video on Gibson government series. I'll put the card right here and the link in the description. Basically, Gibson at one point was importing illegal tone woods from Madagascar and other places around the country, and then they got dinged. Yeah, so these RGs this year, I like the finishes because RG's my favorite guitar, but sometimes they can get a little overzealous with like the finishes and stuff. These are extravagant, but also not too grandiose to where they're like, I'm not going to buy that. I would get some of these for sure, especially the Prestige. I love the Prestige. All right, so let's take a look at this RG that's in all black, reverse headstock. Let's see what this is all about. Oh, okay, so this is the RG RT B621 iron label, right? I'll be honest with you, when I forgot about the iron labels. When I saw the title, I thought it was like a band. I'm a huge black metal and death metal fan, obviously. So I'm kind of into this. Hardtail, which is great. I really like the reverse headstock, and I like the Ibanez logo that's kind of subdued in black on that. That's kind of sweet. Not the biggest fan of no fret marking or inlays, but that's just not my cup of tea. The specs on this guitar is pretty good. A 5-piece maple walnut neck through neck, awesome. Ebony fretboard. Ebony, in my opinion, is the gold standard. That or just pure maple. Ebony stays kind of like greasy, and it's got some speed to it, and taking care of it's relatively easy. It's black, and so I'm a big fan of the ebony fretboard. Best looking ebony fretboard on the market right now is on the Brandon Ellis Jackson signature model. Check that one out. Comes the DiMarzio Fusion Edge neck pickup, DiMarzio Fusion Edge neck bridge, which is great. 24 frets, awesome, and then all that black. And then it's also got some cool electronics, a 5-way PU selector, and then it's got that alter switch between the volume and tone knobs. So this is a pretty cool guitar. I really like it. Move on to the AZ models. These cater to the guitarists that want those 24 frets, but don't want that like metal setup with the Floyd Rose. The pickups here are a little different. The AZ2204NW is a Prestige, right? Made in Japan. This setup is kind of like an old Stratocaster setup. It's got one of the cool humbuckers in the back, Seymour Duncan Fortuna, which is a great pickup. And this will cater towards, this is a way more versatile guitar probably than any of the RG models. RG definitely steered in the way of metal, right? And shred and prog, all that good stuff. These ones are going to be more so for those players at classic rock or some folk or things like that. So you can do a lot with these guitars, and this finish on this body is awesome, man. It's almost like a seafoam, right? I've always liked the metal humbucker in the back. Thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, these guitars are probably another offshoot of that RT model made back in the early 90s, which kind of came off of the RG and really catered to people that, like I said, aren't looking for that metal shredster guitar. I do a whole history video of the RG. Card will be right here. I'll put the link in the description. Check that out, and you can see the RG was the basis for a lot of these guitars. So that's just something for you there. The AR, really nice. Kind of got that semi-hollow look with that single cut. That's pretty cool. Let's see, hollow body. So I'm really pumped that Ibanez makes great hollow bodies, right? Because with our hollow bodies, we really have basically like, sometimes it's to the point where it's like Gretsch and Gibson and that's all you get. And those can be pretty expensive unless you're going like with a budget guitar, right? So let's take a look at this George Benson model. Love that red finish, that's awesome. It almost kind of reminds me of some of the thin line Gibsons they used to make back in the day. Almost like a Gibson Birdland, right? This might be a little thicker, but man, I love that tailpiece. That is awesome. Let's see. Flame maple top, maple back, that's great. Medium frets. Medium frets are cool because Ibanez probably uses a lot of jumbo frets, just like Jackson and stuff for the metal players. Medium frets are great for kind of jazz playing, stuff like that, because you don't have that big of a, fret to work around. I'm going right to these AS models. These are awesome. These look to be semi-hollow bodies, and I'm really glad Ibanez are making things like this because, like I said, you really have those two guitar brands, or unless you go get like a Harley Benton, which is a great guitar, a Harley Benton, you kind of don't have much to choose from. And with these AS models, it looks like they're really tapping into the blues, folksy market. So looking at the AS113 Artstar, looks great. I really like the finish. I love the sunburst finish. I mean, who doesn't love a spruce top semi-hollow guitar, right? The bridge on this is pretty sweet because it's got the quick change tailpiece, quick change 3, which is awesome. Makes restringing the guitar super easy. And then I'm gonna probably stop it here with the AG. Another semi-hollow body guitar, looks pretty good. Also reminds me of that thin line Gibson series, right? Man, this is a sweet looking guitar. Really reminds me of like almost big band, right? Big band stuff. It's got this sunburst finish, which is pretty sweet. Got the pick guard, the double cuts for the hollow body. Man, medium frets, great. Oh, Gibraltar Performer bridge, pretty good. Okay, not bad. Dang, this is a good looking guitar. Wonder how much one of these cost. Looks like it's got a lot of selector switches to choose from. You got your neck tone, your neck volume, your bridge tone, your bridge volume, and a 3-way PU selector. That's what I'm talking about. Doesn't say anything about its split for the split coil stuff, but you could always do that aftermarket if you wanted to, if it didn't come with it. I wonder how much one of this is. This looks like it could almost be a value guitar. Interesting. Moving on to the basses, I'll only glance over the basses really, but the signature model bass looks like they're bringing back like the Destroyer design with the Mike D'Antonio signature model. Pretty sweet. But man, these things are getting crazy. Look at this EHB line with the multi-scale frets. I think there's almost 6 strings on that? Yeah. Yeah, so this is a 6-string bass. That's like playing on like a dinner plate, kind of. Dang, these are pretty awesome. Now just to round it out, let's look at the ukuleles, right? So if you want to see something interesting, scroll all the way down to the ukuleles. Look from left to right, and on the right you'll see the Iceman ukulele. I think this is pretty cool. If I get my hands on one of these, that'd be pretty sweet. Always dug the Iceman look. I'm a big fan of the Sam Topman Iceman signature with the Floyd Rose. I love that guitar. But yeah, this is pretty cool. All right, guys, so the Ibanez 2022 lineup looks pretty good. Looks like you have some options between the Prestige and Premium options, especially with the RGs. I mean, I'm not gonna act like I don't like the RGs. And then they threw an iron label in there, which is pretty sweet. And then also you have all those hollow body options, which are great because now there's some good competition between Gibson and Gretsch and stuff like that, and things to pick from. And then, as always, there's the Iceman ukulele. So if you want to check that out, I'd love to hear your comments on that if someone actually owns that guitar. That does it. hit subscribe, please, for more guitar history and more guitar reviews. I'd really appreciate it. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later.